At this time, I would like to get the organizational meeting of the Board of Aldermen to order. If everybody would please stand for the pledge to our nation, flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag
The flag
of the
of the United States of America
and to the
and
republic
to the republic
for
for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible, with
with
liberty
liberty and justice for all.
Trish, by the way, Trish, happy birthday. And
Thank you, Mayor.
Happy birthday,
Yeah.
Trish.
Happy birthday, Trish.
Thank you,
And
guys.
Happy
If
birthday,
we-
Trish.
if we could have a roll call.
Aldermen and women, King. Farrar,
Here.
Adamowski,
Here.
Tar. Here. Cassetti,
Here.
Janetti. Not,
Here.
Hardy,
Here.
Yalman,
Here.
Rivers,
Here.
Lamone,
Here.
Stewart,
Here.
Levinsky,
Here.
Durante. Okay, I have 11 present. You have a quorum.
Okay, we have a quorum. The purpose of tonight's meeting with aldermen and alderwomen is to elect a president of the Board of Aldermen for a term of 1 year from December 1st, 2023 to December 1st, 2024. At this time, I will open up the nominations for president of the Ansonia Board of Aldermen.
Mr. Mayor, it's Tony. I would like the privilege and the honor to make a motion to continue to have Alderman Dr. Josh Stewart as our president. He has done wonders for the position, and really look forward to him serving for another year.
Yes, very good. I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I second it.
Second.
Everybody seconded. Who was that? Nathaniel Hardy, I heard?
Joe Janetti.
Joe Janetti? Okay, we got a multiple people who second it. At this time, I will ask if there's any other nominations for president. Any other nominations for president? A third and final time, any other nominations? Having none, I'll close the nominations. All those for Josh Stewart to continue as president of the Ansonia Board of Aldermen signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstention? Having none, I'll move on to the next order of business, and that is to establish the day, month, and hour of the day for holding monthly meetings for 2024. What is your pleasure?
Mayor, I'd like to continue. It's Tony again. Make a motion to continue with our second Tuesday of the calendar month moving forward for this next calendar year.
At what time?
7 p.m. Eastern.
7 p.m. Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, the third item is to establish a place where monthly meetings will be held. That's up to you, ladies and gentlemen, what you want to do.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to accept a hybrid motion dependent on the board for either of these meetings to be held monthly on Zoom, remotely, or in the Ansonia aldermanic chambers.
Okay,
Second.
do I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 So I had discussion on that.
Discussion.
So I would like to propose that we have in-person meetings at City Hall, Aldermanic Chambers, unless there is a reason to have a remote meeting, such as sickness or some situation that prevents the use of the aldermanic chambers. I think that I think there's several reasons for this. One, I don't think that the remote meetings are fair to members of the public or members of the Board of Aldermen, for that matter, who do not have the necessary technology. Second, I think the quality of our discussion is much better if we are meeting in person. And I think probably most importantly, I think there needs to be a reason for any deviation from normal practice. And in-person meetings are normal practice throughout our state now that the COVID pandemic is over. And I don't think we've had any reasons offered for why we would continue to extend the remote meeting situation. So I think it's more democratic, more civic minded. It's consistent with normal public practice, and I hope the board will consider doing this, since this is apparently the time at the organizational meeting where it should be determined. But thanks for your consideration on this.
Mayor, you have a motion and a second. I'm going to choose not to amend my motion and leave it as a hybrid approach, either Zoom or in person, based on the board's discretion.
Okay, so we have a motion and we have a second, and we've had a discussion. So what would you like to do? Would you like to vote on this individually to see which way you want it? Or just pass the motion the way you did it?
Could we vote on it individually, Mr. Mayor? It's Bob.
Hey, Bob. Okay,
What do you mean vote? Hold on. You have a motion and a second. What do you mean vote individually? You have a
Well,
yes or a no. If it doesn't pass, we could repass it as an in-person only kind of thing.
Correct, correct.
Right. Okay. Gotcha.
Could you
All right.
clarify the motion, please?
The motion was made to have the hybrid meetings for the year of 2024, and it was seconded.
I don't think he was making a motion for hybrid. I think he said at the discretion of our board.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how would you like to proceed? Like, say, next month, is it going to be decided that next month we'll do an in-person, or when do we decide this?
I would say it's at the discretion of the president.
I would say, I'll say this. We've never had better participation and attendance at our meetings since going to Zoom and many other boards have stayed at Zoom as well. And I think there is state backing for that. There's still plenty of entities that still operate via Zoom. And actually, for every person who might not want to go, might complain about Zoom, I probably hear 10 people, laud us for it because it opens up the access. And if we were in the Aldermen chambers right now, it would be 14 people and maybe 2 or 3 people in the audience.
Right.
Can we just make it where the president of board of aldermen makes the decision? I mean, we got a motion on the floor.
Let's vote on the motion.
Pardon me?
That is the motion, Joe.
All right, yeah, there is a motion, then we can either vote, we should just vote on it. There's a motion on the floor, either all in favor or all against, or if you want to do a roll call vote, that's one thing, or if we just vote all together.
Okay.
But
My recommendation, just to be fair, if you want to have a roll call vote, that's fine.
Okay,
Excuse me, it's Beth. Can I just make, I know you're using the word hybrid, which I think means that you have to offer it in Zoom and in person.
Right. No, we didn't. You said not hybrid.
Okay.
Either or.
One or the other. Right.
Okay, so it'd
Okay,
be
so-
Zoom or in person, not hybrid.
Thank you, Beth.
So
So
just a point,
Of using the Alderman chambers, but go ahead.
I was just going to say, point of clarification, and Tony, correct me if I'm wrong. I understood the motion to be that the meetings would either be held virtually on Zoom or in person, not both, and it would be at the discretion of the president of the board of aldermen.
That is correct, Joe.
Thank you.
Okay, so I would just like to say I'd be very happy. I'd be very much in favor of hybrid meetings. That would be the best of both worlds, and
Hybrid.
many governmental bodies throughout our state have gone to that, so that when an alder person is traveling or sick, they can still participate. But I appreciate the clarification on hybrid, because this is not what the motion says, and I think anyone that would want in-person meetings or hybrid would vote against this motion. At least that's my understanding.
And just
Correct.
one point of clarification on hybrid. We have tried entertaining hybrid with public hearings alone. It's a technological challenge to say the least. You end up calling other people's phones, and then not everybody can be heard and things like that. And I don't know if we're currently equipped for a hybrid situation where those that chose to be virtual for that particular meeting would be able to participate in the same way they would be. And that's why I think it's just I think Tony's motion clarifies it, is that it's either one or the other. Trying to do both and mishmash, I think, makes it a lot more complicated and creates a lot of technological challenges.
You know, I appreciate the clarification, but I can tell you, having served on other boards that are hybrid or were in our hybrid, what this requires is a whiteboard in the aldermanic chambers and internet access to the aldermanic chambers. And then it can be hooked up, and those that are
On a whiteboard
can appear on the whiteboard along with any presentation material. So it's not a big technological challenge. It's done all over the state and many places.
Correct,
Okay.
but we're currently not equipped for it. That was my
It's not a
point.
whiteboard.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
Yes.
All in favor? signify by
Aye.
Aye.
No,
Oppose,
no.
Nay.
No.
abstain.
Who else said no? There were
Bob.
two,
King.
Dan
King
King and Steve Adamowski.
And Bob not.
and
And
not.
no, that's 3 no's. Okay,
And 1 abstention.
who abstained?
Who was
I
that?
believe Joe.
Which,
So wasn't me.
Janetti.
Joe,
What's that?
did you abstain, Joe?
No, I did not.
Okay,
So sorry.
No,
Someone
no
did.
worries, no worries, no worries.
okay,
I voted yes.
Okay.
okay. So I should have 8 yes, 3 no's.
Yep.
Okay, motion passes. All right, the last order of business is to adopt the rules and procedures under which the board will conduct its business.
Motion to adopt Robert rules revised through 2023.
This was our opportunity
Second.
to adopt the Mamone rules. Nobody wants it.
Okay, I have a motion. I got a motion from Joe Yalman. Do I have a
Got
second?
second, from Chicago.
We have a second from Chicago. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Oppose, abstain. Okay, the last item is to handle any appropriate business to come before the Board of Aldermen, which it should not be any, I don't think, unless there is, for this organizational meeting.
Nope.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay,
Second.
in favor, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Uh,
Okay, we can go right into our next meeting.
Yeah, don't go anywhere. 2 minutes. Smoke them if you got them, and then meeting starts in 2 minutes. Full board. 7 o'clock. Welcome everybody to the Ansonia full board meeting for December 12th. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United
of the
States of
United
America,
States
United States of America.
to the
To
republic,
the republic for which it stands,
and
one
one
nation,
one
nation
nation,
under God,
under God, indivisible, with liberty and
liberty
justice
and
for
justice
all.
The
for all.
injustice for all.
Trish, we get a roll call?
You bet. Aldermen and women, King,
Here.
Farrar,
Here.
Adamowski,
Here.
Tar,
Here.
Cassetti,
Here.
Janetti,
Here.
Not,
Here.
Hardy,
Here.
Yalman,
here.
Rivers,
Here.
Mamone.
Here.
Short,
Here.
Levinsky,
Here.
Durante. Alderman Durante.
I don't see him.
All right, 11 present, 1 absent.
All right, I declare a quorum. Before we start, I want to add one item. Meditrust versus Ansonia to the executive session. I get a motion to do that.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Motion by Mamone, second by Tar. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We'll pick that up at the end. Congrats again to all the members of this board for your recent re-elections. I think we have a lot to accomplish in the next couple of years, so very excited to work with all of you guys. And thank you most of all for your trust in voting me in again as your board president. I'm honored and I appreciate the support. So looking forward to a good year. So we have one set of minutes to approve, November 14th, 2023 regular full board meeting.
Motion to approve said minutes.
Second. Motion to approve by Mamone, second by Not. Any corrections or? Nope. Okay. Motion to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimously. Public session, same rules as always, 3 minutes or less. Please identify yourself, and we'll go from there. So anyone from the public who wishes to speak tonight?
Mr. President,
Yes.
Anthony DeLucia, 47 Berkshire Road, Assistant Fire Chief. I'd like to talk for a couple of minutes on the topic of the purchase of the 3 fire trucks
Lead him.
for the board tonight. I'd like to thank the Board of Alders ahead of time. I'm hoping for their support in the apparatus. I know it's a huge chunk of money, but your volunteers deserve it. City of Ansonia community deserves it. Commuters deserve it. So I thank you ahead of time for your support. I'd secondly like to thank the Board of Fire Commissioners, the fire chiefs, fire companies went to the Board of Fire Commissioners earlier in the year, told them our needs to upgrade our fire apparatus. They listened to us, took it to the city, and here we are tonight. So I'd like to thank Commissioner Stewart, Yalman, and Janetti on that. I'd also like to thank Sheila, John, and Kurt for all their support and the emails through our truck committees, fire chiefs, going back and forth over the last few months. I'm sure sometimes we could have been a little pain in the necks, but that is what it is. And last but not least, I'd like to thank the mayor. Since he's been in, he's always told us anything we need, he'll take care of his volunteers. And again, here we are tonight. He sure has. We get extra money every year for our safety equipment. He's taking care of us with the abatements for the taxes, and now he's gonna do a big investment, probably over $5 million in fire trucks. So the fire department could call you Santa Claus this year, Mr. Mayor, if this all works out. We thank you, and we won't let you down. That's all I
Thank you,
have.
Anthony.
Thank you for coming. Finally, a happy camper somewhere. Anyone else from the public who wishes to speak tonight?
Josh.
Alex. Alex has his hand up.
Oh,
Thank you very much,
Chief.
Alex, for this.
you're
Can't hear you.
you're glitching out.
Must be fire.
Thank you
fire
very much
equipment
for
he's
letting
using.
me speak. I echo the sentiments of.
Can't hear you.
Forget it.
Chief, can't hear you. It's
Yep.
going in and out.
He's using the fire
Can you
equipment.
hear me now?
You must be on a
No.
radio. Go ahead.
I also echo what Chief Anthony. Is there a phone number I could call in? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
A little bit better. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna
Got it.
text him the number.
Yeah.
All right, we can come back to it.
He's
can come back
muted
to
right now.
Anyone else from the public who wishes to speak tonight? Make yourself known. We have a couple pages. I'll scroll around here. Second call, anyone from the public who wishes to speak?
Hold on, Josh, let the chief speak.
Yeah, I'd like to hear from the chief.
I was just trying to fit anyone in if they
Oh,
also,
yeah, I just didn't want you to close it, sorry.
No, we wouldn't do that.
Well, we would, but,
Uh-uh,
okay, Joe.
firemen.
We also-
They sleep with their boots on.
we
An
also
amazing group of men
could come back
Women.
and women.
next section if you get hold of them, if you want to move on.
Maybe they
Yeah.
need new phones.
They do. That's what the referendum is all about.
Steve, this goes to your point about in-person meetings.
What's the point?
That's right.
What was this
We
point?
don't have
No.
we don't have these technical difficulties.
Oh,
We don't have the people there either, though.
Except that
right.
the person who's calling in probably wouldn't be at the meeting either.
He'll be out chasing a fire.
Yeah, yeah. It's probably an iPhone he's on too.
Always going at it there, Rivers.
Come back to them.
Yeah, I mean, we can, how about we can finish this and we can let him speak in the before we move into that section.
I think he's back.
Oh, there he is.
Anyone else from the public who wishes to speak? Final call.
Alex Chief.
All right,
There
well,
he is.
another time. Go
Hold
ahead.
on, I'm just gonna get him on my phone. Hang on.
Can you hear me now?
No.
On my cell phone?
No.
Sheila.
Chief, go ahead.
The Board of Aldermen, Commissioner, Mayor, and all distinguished guests, I want to echo the sentiments of Assistant Chief Anthony DeLucia and thank us for taking this opportunity to improve upon our outdated, old aged equipment. I know this is a large amount to encumber, but this will reward the city and the citizens well and only better the safety of everybody for the near future. I have submitted a letter for the Board of Aldermen for the requirements and the needs of why we are looking to purchase these three vehicles. And hopefully with a better connection, I am here to answer any questions that you should have on any of these three vehicles. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, last call. Anyone else from the public who wishes to speak tonight? All right, hearing none, we'll close the public session and move on to public official session. Hit it, Mayor Cassetti.
Good evening, President Stewart, members of the Board of Aldermen and residents of the great city of Ansonia. And again, congratulations, Josh, once again. Thank you for your leadership and your guidance. I want to wish everyone happy holidays and a wonderful new year. It is hard to believe that a year has come and gone already. It is hard to believe that we are celebrating our 10th anniversary of Ansonia Recharge. There are so many great projects that have been accomplished along with our downtown revitalization and all over the city of Ansonia. And so many more good things are to come. I am excited about the future of our great city, and I thank this board and all our residents for their support and input along the way. Some quick highlights for you. Olson Drive is moving forward with borings for the foundation of the building and an area for the field to be constructed, which is excavated. Right next door to City Hall Interior demolition is occurring to make way for the new brewery. We are prepping the site at 35 North Main Street for the fuel cell, and they will be submitting a site plan to planning and zoning shortly. We just had 2 ribbon cuttings just recently, one for the new Caribbean restaurant, Islandville, and Dash and Beauty for all you salon and spa needs. This Sunday at 10 a.m., our fire departments will be holding Snowball Popcorn Sunday. Popcorn balls will be thrown from our firefighters, fire engines. Listen for the horn as they come by your neighborhood near you throughout the city. I will be on the west side with the fountains throwing out balls at 10 o'clock on Sunday. Valley Save Our Youth in the city of Ansonia will be hosting a basketball tournament with guest celebrity Wes Matthews, retired NBA player. There will be games, hot dogs, and hamburgers at the Ansonia High School from 4 to 7 on Saturday, December 16th. See you there. Bring your game. A lot to look forward to. And again, Buon Natale and Buon Anno Nuovo. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and your family. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mayor. Next up, Corporation Counsel, John Marini. Maybe. Oh, there he is.
President, members of the board. Josh, your background is blurred out this month. We can see which acoustics you have decided to hang.
We already decided you don't like acoustics, so I thought you didn't want to see them, so I blurred them out.
Just not preferable.
Okay.
I think tonight we could reflect on a lot of work to be done that this new board is coming into, a lot of potential to achieve for the residents, and also a lot to look back on, a lot achieved in the last 10 years. And with that in mind, the mayor left out one thing that I do want to bring up, which is that this Thursday, the mayor and his team will be accepting, on behalf of the city and on behalf of this board, the Silver Hammer Award from the Greater Valley Chamber of Commerce, as it relates to one very important project that, with this board's support and the hard work of a lot of our board members here and our officials citywide, that we achieved with big success. And that is, of course, the rehabilitation of the former Farrell headquarters at 65 Main, transformation into our new downtown police department and senior center. So obviously a lot of years, a lot of work, a lot of planning went into that. And on behalf of the mayor and Sheila and his whole team, we're going to be very proud to accept that on your behalf and on the city's behalf, as I think it is an exemplary project, a great example to what could be done when a city addresses, what some other municipalities would run from, right? It was challenging from beginning to end, but the result speaks for itself. And we're very proud to be at this moment where we could look back at that as one of our accomplishments. So thank you to the board. And of course, we'll give you updates as we go into that conference on Thursday. Looking ahead, we have a lot to do, right? And a big part of that is thanks to this board and our residents for approving our bonding projects, a whole slate of referendum items that were given a green light. And ever since the day after the election, our team has been very hard at work planning the facilitation, the administration, accomplishment of these items. You already know we started with the ordering of our fire vehicles. And of course, why did we start there? Because not only is fire a vital department, an essential department, they're a department of volunteers. And it isn't said enough what these guys do as volunteers, putting their lives on the line, sacrificing what they do and time with their family to protect this city. And we talked about the long turnaround time on the ordering of these vehicles. We realized that needed to be job number one in terms of facilitating these projects. So that's on the agenda tonight. We've worked with finance to coordinate. Payment for these vehicles will not be due until the orders are fulfilled. And you're talking about a turnaround time of longer than a year, longer, in some cases, longer than 2 years. So this fits right into our budgeting plan. You remember from the very beginning, we talked about how we would mitigate any impact on the budget and to our taxpayers, and that goes right along with our grand plan. So we are very much recommending an affirmative vote on authority to go ahead and order those 3 vehicles tonight. Behind the scenes, we've also been working with our recreation group. So this isn't the recreation committee per se, but it's the recreation planning committee that this board put into effect. They've already been meeting to start thinking about how to best use those dollars to remediate and improve existing city fields and tackle some exciting potential projects, such as the creation of turf field and the further enhancement of citywide recreation facilities. One positive, during this process, we've already identified funding to entirely complete our projects at Colony Park, Abestone Colony. So that will not be part of the bonding. In fact, that work is already underway with the funds we've identified, the completion of that project. So we hope to have that field completely active, up and running by next year. And that will, of course, alleviate a lot of our issues, as we've certainly maxed out use of the fields at the Nature Center. So that's a big positive. The group is planning right now to hopefully meet this Monday to now talk about next steps, which involve a possible survey of Nelligan, determining if that's best to continue softball activity there, and also starting to tackle the larger question of what to do with Nolan Field. Additionally, we're going to be looking for a date from our school building committee to be talking about next steps for site selection and for design of our new middle school. And of course, it begins with that group. And so we're hopefully going to get a date, if not before the holidays, then right after, to really talk about that project in earnest. Obviously, that's the biggest monetary wise and perhaps impact wise as well on this referendum slate. And so we can't wait to start to tackle that project. And we're going to, as promised, Chief Williams, we will be sitting down to talk about the ordering of police equipment and vehicles. Also to talk a little bit about our security surveillance proposal, and to figure out exactly when those next steps and those orders are going to take place. And again, everything's being done with a sort of master view in mind, working with finance to make sure that when the time does come to borrow, that we truly mitigate its impact, lessen its impact as much as possible on the actual budget. So that's referendum. Another big item to talk about, WPCA. We've talked in the past that we are preparing to go out for a request for proposals, qualifications for a potential sale. We've hit a lot of check marks along the way. This proposal has gone before planning and zoning for its 824 referral. We have had the hearing mandated by ordinance before we've gone out to bid. We've put this before Conservation Commission and Recreation Commission, and we were at the last meeting still waiting on our appraisal. The appraisal is now complete, and therefore a request for qualifications and proposals, which will be accompanied by that appraisal, will be sent out. And that will likely be sent out tomorrow, sent out to you, the aldermen, to our officials, to the public, and also published in a newspaper of general circulation in the city. And of course, we're going to be working to circulate that far and wide. What we're looking at is a time frame where responses will be due mid-late January. And when those responses are received, it will be this board's job to review them before any further selection is made. I'd say we're still very early in the process. We're a long way to actually really considering a sale offer. I would say, we're going to be in the proposal phase and then an exploratory phase. So again, we're a bit of a ways away, but we're in the process. Want to give a big thanks to the Teamsters, a union representing our city hall, a couple of actually units in the city, including Public Works, but in particular here, the Teamsters representing our city hall workers helped earlier today strike an agreement where we will be bringing our page concept to the Ansonia Senior Center. And of course, you may be familiar with this concept from the library, or basically part-time pages being used to help add service hours to our service-heavy departments in a way that is cost-effective and very beneficial to both the staff for extra resources and to those we're serving. In this case, of course, our senior center patrons. So big thanks to our Teamsters for and to Dawn LeBear, of our president of the Teamsters City Hall, for coming to this agreement with us, and we'll provide further details as they become available. Thank you for putting on an item tonight, tax appeal. We have 5 essential tax appeals pending in the city. One of them, we believe we're very close to a potential resolution, and that's the one we're going to discuss tonight in executive session. And I believe that is all I have for you tonight.
Any questions from the Alderman or Attorney Marini? John, I have one comment, sort of a correction. You had mentioned in the portion on the referendum with the trucks that, you're talking, it wasn't a year or 2, and the estimates that were being floated out were 36 to 40 months of a lag time between ordering. So even longer than what you had stated. Any questions for Attorney Marini? All right, moving on. Economic development.
Wait, I had one. Hold on. Can't get off the mute fast enough. I apologize. John, just a quick question on Colony Park. When you said it's available next year, would that be like the spring sports season, or is that kind of the fall of?
I think when you consider the seeding that needs to occur upon completion, you're talking about the fall.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it needs the full time to move. Okay. Thank you.
Possible it can move faster, but I would say you should be, expecting the fall.
Yeah, you want that to root pretty deeply. So thank you.
Anything else? All right, moving back to Economic Development Director, Sheila O'Malley. You are muted.
Can't hear you.
Isn't it better that way?
Yes.
Good evening, President Stewart, members of the Board of Aldermen. Congratulations, President Stewart. Just a quick few things for you. We are going to start the assessment in preparation for the remediation and demolition of Ansonia Copper and Brass. So we're going to get in there and do the prep work for what will be remediation and demolition to follow once we acquire title. We can get on and do assessment work at this time. And we did get an additional $2.5 million to do that work. So that you will see more activity on both SHW and on Ansonia Copper and Brass. With SHW, fuel cell is prepping. We are helping to prep the site for fuel cell. And the mayor mentioned they'll have a site plan going before P&Z, which will show us where they're going to be and what it's going to look like overall. So there'll be work started again at SHW for continued demolition, as we have some remaining pieces left from building 11 that have been that were very contaminated and have to be dealt with in a different manner. We, on Thursday, will be hosting the Enterprise Corridor Zone meeting, which we're happy to do. John, myself, and the mayor will be speaking. Enterprise Corridor Zone, we have a few manufacturers in Ansonia that have taken advantage of this incentive from the state, and we'll be talking about Farrell and Stanley Dairy and Better Packages, to name a few. Riverwalk is proceeding. We'll be out for design on the next segment shortly. And I think that's all for now, because trying to keep it short.
Any questions for economic development tonight from the Alderman?
Unusual. That's unusual.
All right, you got off the hook.
All right, thank you.
Right below your head, so I'm gonna call on him, Kurt Miller, for a finance update, perhaps.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. I just want to give a quick update on the budget process. I've been working on a lot of behind the scenes stuff, just getting documents, the spreadsheet and so on and so forth ready. We did put a request out to all department heads that budgets would be due into to my office by January 1st. I've started to receive some, which is certainly a good thing. We're going to target the process very similar to what we did last year. Again, waiting a little bit longer is certainly prudent to do to make sure that we're getting realistic numbers. If you recall, on some of our renewals, we didn't get those until late May and early June. So I think it's definitely the way to go to wait a little bit longer. So we're going to target the mayor's presentation to a joint session of BOAT and the aldermen of all days on Monday, April 1st. That will be the day that BOAT meets. So the mayor will make his presentation on that day. And then I will work with you, President Stewart, and whoever is elected the chair of BOAT, as well as the chair of your finance subcommittee, on setting up the times for the workshops and the votes and public hearings and so on and so forth. So our goal is to spend the month of January and February going over all the budgets with the mayor, getting his feedback, getting all of his understandings put into that budget meeting with department heads, reviewing the capital. We'll be doing a lot of that in conjunction with some of the bonding that John and Sheila have already brought up, and making sure all of that all fits together. So I just wanted to give everybody a quick update as to what the process will be looking like again. I'll provide an update in January and February, as I have in the past, and as we move along.
Thank you. Any questions for Kurt from the alderman tonight?
Just a comment, Josh.
Sure.
I just occurred the timeline you outlined is not consistent with the timeline for the budget in the city charter. And this, I've after we took an oath last week to uphold the ordinances and charter of the city of Ansonia, I thought I better read them, right? So I did.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a section 47 that controls this, that lists a different timeline. So this is not discussion of this is not on the agenda tonight, but I'd like to request at a subsequent meeting, perhaps our next meeting, that we discuss this. I was under the impression the first time around that we were not going to follow the timeline or follow the charter, but that there was a charter revision commission working on changing it, right? It turns out that is not the case. I misunderstood that. And but I don't think we can continue to violate the charter and knowingly and deliberately and not have any plan for changing it to what you would perceive as a better solution, better timeline. So I'd like to ask that we discuss this as a board at a subsequent meeting.
Maybe Kurt could talk to this, but we can't get the numbers from the state on time, Steve. And so that throws our whole budget off. That's why we wait.
I understand the reason for waiting. Again, this is not the place for this discussion, but I can tell you that all the other cities in the state, many of whom have timelines earlier than ours, right?
No.
Follow their charters. And I believe the two ways of dealing with that is to either follow the governor's recommended budget or to utilize the funding levels from the previous year. and to backfill if necessary with the fund balance if that's not accurate in July. But again, this is a discussion for another time. I'm simply requesting that we discuss this because I don't think we can deliberately violate the charter on the budget without having any plan to change the charter. So anyway, that's my request.
I guess if I could respond through you, Mr. Chairman, ultimately I'll produce whatever schedule the aldermen would like in conjunction with the mayor's office. But at the same time, I also have a fiduciary responsibility to the residents of the city of Ansonia to provide the best budget that we possibly can. And following timelines that are severely outdated is not in the best interests of our residents. And again, I'll go back to last year. Not only is it sometimes an issue with funding from the state of Connecticut, which is a big chunk of our revenue, you also have to look at our renewals and things, with property and casualty insurance, health insurance. These are big ticket expenses that unfortunately are getting pushed out further and further by the providers, and there's absolutely nothing that we can do. Again, we didn't get our liability numbers last year until the beginning of June. So that requires us to put very large, variances in the numbers that we're putting out. In that case, we ended up saving $100,000 a year on our liability costs by switching providers. And we were not able to pass that tax savings along to the residents because we had to put a number in that was a guesstimate. So again, while I absolutely appreciate what you're saying, I appreciate the desire to want to follow the charter. I have a fiduciary responsibility to put out the best numbers I possibly can, and I cannot do that by jamming a budget together in February, 4 or 5 months before we even have all of the solid numbers. So again, I'll ultimately do what the alderman and the mayor asked me to do. But that's just sort of my reasoning why I'm asking for this timeline again this year. As we have the last couple
you have nothing to defend here. It's not my intention to, defend defend the practice of having a later budget process than the one that's called for in our ordinances and charter. But I would like to see the Board of Aldermen discuss a long-term solution to this that would resolve the issue.
All right, thanks. Any other questions for Kurt? He's probably running away right now, but
No,
Anyone
just,
else?
let me just, Mr. President, if I may just make a quick comment with regards to the point that Steve brought up. While certainly I understand the point. I mean, I think what the charter requires is a proposal. So I think we meet the, we based on what, looking at last year's and things like that, I think it's the mayor setting the priorities. I don't necessarily think it's a finalized budget, if I'm remembering correctly, and I haven't looked at the charter provision in a bit, but my understanding is that it's simply just a proposal at that point in time, and it's not a finished budget, just to sort of put it around there. And I think that the mayor just announcing his priorities and Kurt addressing that, and Sheila and John doing the same, I think it's that satisfies the charter in and of itself.
Well, I would encourage all members of the Board of Aldermen to read the charter if you have not already done so, particularly section 47. And again, I would look forward to a discussion of this. And what I'm seeking is a long-term solution that would be practical and feasible for the city financially, but also resolve the charter issue so that we do not continue to be in violation of it.
all right. No further questions for Kurt tonight. We'll move on. Chief Williams, see your picture.
There I am.
How you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. I'm doing good, sir. Good evening, Mayor Cassetti, Board of Aldermen. Congratulations to all of you on beginning the year, your new term this year. Just a quick update on a couple of things. We had a new officer start the Milford Training Academy on December 8th. He's not expected to leave that academy until sometime in June. Excuse me. We currently have 4 open positions. We're conducting interviews. We actually did 13 interviews today. We have 1 open dispatcher position, but I'm hoping to have that filled shortly. We've been doing backgrounds on a candidate. I wanted to update you on some grants that we have and that we are also applying for. We're currently in phase 3. We just got approval for phase 3 of our speeding traffic enforcement grant. We also have a DUI grant that is running from Thanksgiving to New Year's, where we're putting extra officers out for DUI patrols. These are all 100% reimbursable grants for the overtime that's incurred. We also are expecting a distracted driving grant to start up in the spring. Again, it's 100% reimbursement. And we also just notified of another grant for $60,000 for the spring. This has to do with speeding enforcement, along with purchasing speed equipment. So I have already talked to the state. I've expressed our interest in that, and I expect to be applying for it shortly. This is a cost savings for us because the overtime is reimbursed, but the purchasing of our aging, we have to replace some aging equipment, so that might actually help us purchase some on the state's dime, which very rarely happens. Just an update downstairs on the garage. It is just finishing up. We had an inspection today. We're waiting for a back-ordered part for the East Main Street garage, but we expect that to be resolved soon, very quickly. The police accreditation is ongoing. Some important arrests. This morning, the press release was going out a little while ago. This morning, we had a prisoner that was already incarcerated brought into the court, where we served a warrant for murder, felony murder, and robbery in connection with the homicide that took place on Hadge Avenue over the summer. That is the second arrest. This is the party that we have identified as the shooter in this arrest. So that case, that's the last arrest we expect in that case. You may have also heard over the weekend that there were multiple street takeovers across the state. Shelton, Milford, Bridgeport, North Haven, Derby. I would like to say we are exempt. We were not. We assisted Derby on theirs, which was Friday into Saturday. And then we had a group of about 100 to 150 cars attempt one in Ansonia on Saturday night. We were assisted by Derby and the Connecticut State Police in breaking it up before they were able to get a foothold downtown. We ended up getting them pushed out of town, and a majority of them went to North Haven, which ended up with about 1,500 cars that wreaked havoc in their town. Several officers have been assaulted over the weekend. Fireworks were thrown at multiple vehicles, including cruisers and police officers over the weekend. There were several assaults on police officers. Fortunately, that did not occur in Ansonia, but we will continue to try and get them out of town as fast as they start to gather. Two other things I do want to mention. On Friday, from 11 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the afternoon at Stop and Shop, we will be doing our Christmas Stuff a Jeep program. So you are more than welcome to come down and donate to our Stuff a Jeep program that benefits Ansonia residents and our food banks that we have in town. And then flipping that around on Saturday morning is our annual Shop with a Cop program that Officer Mike Berry runs through the school system, where the schools help identify families that are in need for this holiday season. Donations have been collected, and officers will be down shopping with the parties, and we actually provide for all of the gifts that they purchase. Donations were a little lighter this year, so if any of you would like to donate, there's still time to donate. You can contact me directly or contact my assistant. I am open for any questions that you may have.
Go ahead.
Tony, I just had a quick question. Did you say 1,500 cars in North Haven?
Yeah, so this was a planned event that we had all gotten noticed on. The state police, along with federal authorities and local departments, have been pretty keeping up on this over the last 6 months. And this was a tri-state gathering between New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut that were flooding into Connecticut to conduct these types of things. It's racing, it's doing donuts in parking lots, damaging things, etc. It's kind of dangerous. It's very dangerous as to what they're doing. And then what happens is once they get into a parking lot and they're able to get a foothold in that parking lot, it's taken a lot to get them out of there. There have been multiple arrests made. There are still departments. If you watch Channel 8 News tonight, Milford is looking to identify 30 or so individuals that were involved, but there were hundreds of vehicles, including which resulted in assaulting of a police officer, etc. So yes, there were about 1,500 is what they estimated arrived in North Haven.
Alderman Cassetti, you had a question.
Yes, through you, Josh. Hi, Chief. How are you tonight?
I'm very good, Alderman. How are you, sir?
Tip top. Thank you. Just was wondering, have you heard of the use of a grappler?
The grappler for, you mean for vehicle pursuits, to stop
Yeah.
vehicle pursuits?
Yes.
That's one of the tools that is out there. There's a couple of tools now that are out there that are helpful when it comes to vehicle pursuits. I will tell you, in the circumstances that I was talking about with these street takeovers, it's really just overwhelming numbers that show up all at once. And the officers, they're not overwhelmed, but they definitely have more people than they can deal with at one time. I've seen some of the videos from Derby from Friday night into Saturday morning on Persian Drive, and they're quite disturbing. But again, when you have hundreds of suspects and 5 officers, it takes a little while to get some help there.
Yeah. Also, Chief, if I could ask too, with the police accountability bill, I know hands are tied in a lot of respects, and in some cases, it's probably, the accountability bill is probably in some respects outdated at this point also. What I would like to ask you is there at any point that you think that it is necessary for you to enforce the law to the best of your ability by going outside of those guidelines? Are you able to do that with, due respect to the state and their laws, but also with your responsibility to protect the public?
So I'm going to say this generally because I realize this is a recorded on the record meeting. So we have policies and procedures that the officers are mandated to follow. Those are governed by both state law, best practices, and post requirements, which post is the one that controls certification of police officers. And our rules and regulations will follow those to the best of our abilities. What I will say is that it is a slippery slope if we start sidestepping some of those rules and regs, and I would not encourage any of my officers to do that. And I will be honest with you, I don't think my officers would do that. Just there's multiple reasons, but we all have rules. Unfortunately, we have more rules than the people we're dealing with sometimes. So it does make it very difficult. It makes it very frustrating on the officer's part. But at the end of the day, we try to do it in the safest manner as possible. And I will tell you, Saturday night, these groups were pushed out of towns and into other towns, and then pushed out of those towns and into other towns all night long. And it was just it was a combination of law enforcement efforts. But again, even with the help of the state police, Shelton, et cetera, you're talking about maybe 20 officers, and you're still dealing with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. So, you do the best you can to keep it a safe environment. Obviously, our officers put themselves at risk on a regular basis, but I wouldn't ask them to put themselves at a greater risk that is necessary to try and quell the problem at the time.
So Chief, I guess with that, and maybe even for Attorney Marini, what is being discussed maybe at the state level, if you're aware, you know, any additional rules, laws, anything along those lines to protect, you know, not only the people, but the officers from things like this happening? Is there, you know, vehicle confiscation happening where they lose rights of their vehicles? You know, if you street race, sometimes you get your car impounded and it's auctioned off kind of thing. Is there any additional talks that you're aware of at the state level that, you know, protect the residents as well as the officers in this? Because like you said, when you're outnumbered 5, 6, 7, 10 to 1, chief, that can turn pretty bad pretty quickly for the officers.
Correct. So they actually did pass a law back in this last session that had to do with street takeovers, and it kind of gave the police a little bit more teeth when it comes to what people are doing on the street, and even in parking lots they added, which is obviously where the biggest problem starts, and then it spills out into the streets. So yes, they do, but again, as I said, the officer's first responsibility is to try and at least maintain somewhat of a safe environment. And you know, if as soon as in these groups you start to make one arrest, you know, you're swarmed, and that's what you'll see if you watch the video from Milford. You're swarmed by the group. So they do the best they can to keep it safe for the people, safe for the officers. But again, you'll see in these videos that the officers are definitely put in harm's way. As far as seizing of vehicles, you know, we'll stop vehicles. We have towed vehicles in some of these street takeovers, and it had calmed down for a while. You haven't heard a lot about it, but this weekend, for some reason, it flared up across the state. And you know, we're still dealing with that. That does not mean, just so you know, that people who commit these crimes get a free pass. Because what happens, and one of the benefits of having cameras in the cars and cameras on the officers, is we're starting to get good pictures of people, and then departments are making arrests via arrest warrants. You know, just because you got away doesn't mean you get away. Is kind of the theory that we use, but that's, you know, with multiple types of these cases.
With the security system that we, you know, just kind of voted on during the referendum, could we leverage that at all for any of this in the future potentially?
Absolutely. I think that especially if we get into the surveillance system and we get into the plate reader part of the surveillance system, that's going to help with locking in which vehicles were here. And I don't want to get into it. Suspects are getting a little smarter with that, covering plates, taking plates off, etc. But you know, there's many ways to skin a cat, and we will do the best we can. I will say, luckily this weekend, even though we had a lot of people in town, they didn't get a foothold. They weren't committing crimes. They were trying to find where to go. And it was actually, some parts were comical because they don't know the area, and they were down dead end streets trying to figure out how to get out of dead end streets. So, you know, it was, luckily we were able to get them out of town. I can say that some other towns were not as lucky as we were.
Appreciate the efforts, and I don't envy you and you know, when things like this happen, but great job to you and all your officers. Stay safe out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you, Chief. I believe I've heard you say, I've heard you say, catch you later.
Yeah, well, like I said. Alderman Rivers?
Yeah, I just want to ask, are you enforcing the parking for the winter yet?
Yeah, yes, we are. So generally the first 5 days or so of the new parking regulations, we give out warnings. You probably saw flyers sitting on people's cars, but they're definitely tagging for the winter parking. I was driving around today and noticed tickets on people's cars. So I know they're tagging for them. They try to get to the roads that are our biggest problems year round. With how narrow the roads become. I know we've also been enforcing some of the streets up on the west side, because that construction on Franklin Street is really causing a lot of traffic on other side streets. So they have been enforcing those areas, but you know, I'll be honest with you, it is based on call volume. And like I said, it tied up Saturday night, for example. Instead of giving tickets, the officers were tied up with these cars and calls for service the whole night. So yes, though we are enforcing it. And Alderman Rivers, just so you know, as soon as they showed up on Saturday night, one of our officers flew up to Nolan Field and made sure the gates were locked. That's definitely a parking lot that they love to go into. So
Yeah, I actually came through the downtown and you guys had it locked down. You had the big Y parking
Yeah,
lot locked down and it was all quiet.
yeah, that's where it started. It started in the big wide lot. They look for the large parking lots.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for the chief tonight? All right, we've hit you pretty good, so thank
Yeah,
you.
Sheila, how did you get away with no questions?
We will, thank you
Oh,
for
thank
coming.
you, everybody. By the way, have a wonderful Christmas.
You too, Chief. And you too.
Merry Christmas, Chief.
All right, next up, Dr. Joseph DeBacco, Superintendent of Schools.
Hello, hello, Alderman and President Stewart. Congratulations again. I believe in you just like everybody else does, and believe in your leadership. And I appreciate all our alders. First, I wanted to share that I attended the Teacher of the Year ceremony at the Bushnell. We were able to highlight Shelley Hyder, a special ed teacher from Meade. It was an excellent ceremony. I just tell a lot of times people don't realize the magnitude until they're backstage and they're ready to walk across, and then they realize that this is a big deal. And I was happy to celebrate an Ansonia teacher walking across the stage for Teacher of the Year. I'm happy to report that we partnered with Sikorsky to do a Women in Engineering event at Ansonia Middle School. Once again, Sikorsky has been a great partner with us, and also to encourage and celebrate more women and our female students getting involved in engineering. It was a successful event, even though Assistant Superintendent Steve Bergen and myself weren't that good at creating a helicopter like the young ladies were, but we really did try our best. If I can't do it with an elastic band and a paperclip, I'm not building a Black Hawk. So I could admit my failures on that one. I do also want to let you know that Steve Bergen has taken lead on our campus globalization effort. Our students right now that are working with our sister schools in South Korea, they are wrapping up their projects. One's on robotics, another one's on desalination. They are finishing their culminating projects and their videos. I've shared before, and it's just an update, that the Ministry of Education has invited our students over. I think next year when we have more time, we can do more fundraising to make sure that our students will be able to go present in person. But once again, I appreciate the efforts of my assistant super Steve Bergen and that campus globalization effort. It would be an amazing thing to get our kids to present overseas. Lastly, I wanted to share, probably before I share tomorrow night at my board meeting, but it's on the agenda. On April 2nd, there will be a primary in the state of Connecticut. I'm going to ask the Board of Education to not have school that day, to allow the voters to be able to enter the parking lots and make voting a lot easier for that primary. I know in the past I've spoken to Mayor Cassetti, and it's a lot harder for people to get in our parking lots when I'm running either professional development or I have school. So what we're probably going to do is extend the school year one day, and that day, April 2nd, we won't be in there to allow voters to have access and not to impede anything. That's my update for you. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer anything for you. Joe Cassetti, how are you?
Hello, Superintendent.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. And you too?
Doing all right.
That's great. I had a question concerning the size of the campus there at Ansonia High School. How large is it?
58 acres.
Hmm.
A lot of it's a reservoir, but yes.
A lot of it's reservoir?
Yes.
Would you be happy to see the investigation for the middle school be located close to the high school?
Close to the high school. I wouldn't say exactly on the property for a couple of reasons. It would be, first of all, it's a lot of earthwork, but the other part is being a state road, Pulaski Highway, there's only one method of egress. And to have two schools there on the same campus it would be a choke point, because that would be a heavy volume of traffic on the same campus. But if it could be located at another area close to the high school, that would be a phenomenal for everyone to pursue. But on that property itself, I think it would be too much. Just my 2 cents.
I just wanted your opinion on that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Absolutely.
Any other questions for the superintendent tonight? Last call. Hey, you got off easy too.
I know.
Thank you for coming.
So Merry Christmas. That's my early Christmas present. So
Thank you.
Hey,
You
take
too.
care.
Thanks, Joe.
Merry
Same to you.
Christmas, Dr. Joe.
Take
Thank
care.
All right, that ends public official session, and we'll move on to financial reports. Finance Committee.
I'd like to make a motion to pay all bills, Josh, if deemed correct, please.
Motion.
I'll second it.
Who was the second on that?
Chicago.
Motion by Mamone, second by Rivers. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries unanimously. We also have the vote recommendations from the December municipal report.
Motion to accept the vote recommendations as well.
Second.
Motion by Mamone, second by Yauman. Any questions on that? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. We next we have the request for refunds in the amount of $14,632.06 if found to be correct.
Motion.
Motion by Rose,
Second.
second by Not. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries unanimously. Again, there were a bunch of other reports in there that came in both in your packet and separately. The monthly reports that are not on the agenda, but I'd like to give a tip of the hat to all those that do submit those, and we do read those and appreciate them. Can I get a motion just to accept those monthly reports and place them on file?
Motion.
Second.
First, second by Tar. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Josh, I just wanted to take this opportunity to commend the tax collector on her report. It was it's probably the clearest big picture report I think any governmental body can get, and her use of the bar charts and the graphs, boy, really gives you a great understanding of the tax collection picture in Ansonia. And I think it's a model report, and I just wanted to commend her and thank her for the effort that goes into producing that for us. And it doesn't read like a novel, but I would highly recommend that anyone read it for the value of its content.
Thanks, Steve. Any other comments on any of the other reports? All right, and to any of those that submitted, we do appreciate them, and I can assure you that we read it. Next up, we have accidents and claims. There are two, 12/23/1048 Johnny Brown Jr. versus City of Ansonia.
Motion to refer to council.
Second.
Motion to refer to council, Yauman and Mamone. All in favor?
Aye.
And any opposed? You kind of got me before I got the second one in, but you can do a repeat, Joe. 12/23/1049 Francis Quinones reimbursement.
Motion to refer to council.
Second.
Motion by Mamone, or sorry, by
Aye.
Yaman, second by Mamone. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, those will go to Corporation Council. We have nothing under communications. We have nothing under resignations. We have nothing under resolutions. And we have appointments. Before we go into the appointments, I just wanted to mention one of them is the Valley Emergency Medical Services VEMS. I want to pull that off because that's a regionalized entity, and so that goes through the mayor's office, makes that directly to them. So we'll move on with the other appointments. We have Ansonia Housing Authority, a 5-year term. The nominee Fred Sardo, Republican of 63 Woodlawn Ave, apartment 310. Term expiring 12/12/2028.
Motion.
Second.
Second by Mamone. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right,
Abstain, King.
one abstention, King. The motion carries. We'll skip the next one. Under the Tax Board, Board of Apportionment and Taxation, these are 3-year terms. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nominees. Is there any opposition to doing them as a group?
No.
No.
I'll read them all off. Rashim Gonzalez, and I'll note that these are all reappointments of existing vote members. Reappointment of Rashim Gonzalez, Republican of 1 Merritt Street. David Papson, Republican of 16 Chester Street. Michael DeLesio, Democrat of 168 Prospect Street. Gary Cassetti, Democrat of 102 Root Avenue, and John Maloney, Republican of P.O. Box 69, Ansonia.
To accept.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Second by Tar. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Any abstentions? Okay, all those pass unanimously. Thank you. Under the Board of Police Commissioners, we have 2 reappointments, 2-year terms. Brian Douglas, unaffiliated of 2 Finucane Drive, and Anthony Levinsky, Republican of 3 Hoynsky Way.
Motion.
Motion to approve by Rick,
Second.
second by Tar. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain, Levinsky?
Levinsky abstaining on Levinsky. Ayes. Motion carries. The other one, Douglas, is unanimous. Thank you. Moving on, Board of Public Works. There are 3 nominees for 2-year terms. These are all reappointments as well. Dan King, Republican of 70 Woodlawn Ave, apartment 16. Paul, I'm going to butcher this one. Paul Jerzwishin of 52 Bassett Street, and Charlie Stowe, ex officio of 25 Granite Terrace.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Rivers, second by Mamone. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain, King.
1 abstention, King. So 1 abstention on that, and the other 2 are unanimous. Thank you. Conservation Commission, 4-year term. The nominee Tim Holman of 15 4th Street, term to expire 12/31/2027.
Motion.
Oh, second.
Motion by Yaman, second by Mamone. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Motion carries unanimously. Ooh, this is a good one. Corporation Counsel. What's your pleasure? The nominee is John P. Marini of Marino, Zabel, and Schellenberg LLC, 9 Dempsey Court, Ansonia. Term to expire 12/31/2025.
Gladly motion to accept.
Second.
Motion by Mamone. Who was the second on that one?
Second, Adamowski.
By Adamowski. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? All right. Congratulations. Thank you. Fire Commissioners, 2-year terms. Joseph Genetti, Republican of 2 Gracie Lane. Anthony Levinsky of 3 Hoynsky Way, and Joshua Short, myself, of 119 Prindle Avenue.
I'll make a motion. I'll just point out that Tony is not a reappointment. He's a new appointment.
That's correct.
Yes. All right. So reappointing Genetti, myself, and new appointee of Anthony Levinsky. We have a motion on that?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Motion by Yaman. Who was, I heard some.
I'll second it.
Second by Mamone. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And any abstentions?
Abstain.
So
I'll
J-
abstain as well, Levinsky.
So, all three of the members, abstaining from themselves, Janetti from Janetti, Levinsky from Levinsky, and Stewart from Stewart. And I just want to, maybe or maybe not appropriate, but I do want to thank, Alderman Yaman for many years of, great service in this position. Much appreciation, and the stuff we're going to attack later on tonight, he was involved in as well. So I just want to thank you.
Thank
Should
you,
we
Mr.
send him a
President.
letter of thanks from the city?
I will send a letter of thanks myself.
Save the money, save the ink.
I'm going to send a letter of thanks for myself. This is going to be a good one.
It's been my pleasure and honor, honestly.
Thank you, Joe.
I wish I could continue, schedules
Thank you,
permitted.
Joe.
Thanks,
Thank you, Joe.
All right, so all those passed. Next up, we have Cultural Commission. These are 3-year terms. George Putamont of 13 Joyce Avenue and Nicholas C. Crom Kirby of 92 Franklin Street.
Motion to it. Second.
Motion by, who was the motioner on that?
Me.
Who's me?
Yaman.
Oh,
Joe.
yeah. And who was the second?
Me.
Tony.
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 That's
Motion
a
by Allen, second by Mamone. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, those go unanimously. Congratulations and thank you to them. Inland Wetlands, we have 2-year terms. Edward Jones of 21 Kathy Lane and Dana Haig of 19 West Roosevelt Drive.
Motion to accept.
Motion by Mamone.
Second.
Second by Rivers. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
No.
All right. Motion carries unanimously. And the last one, Planning and Zoning Commission, a reappointment of William Malerba of 145 Myrtle Avenue.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Yaman, second by Rivers. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thanks. That's the end of the appointments. Ordinances, we have nothing tonight. New business, we have the one item that we've discussed a little bit. Let me pull up my papers here. This is the authorization of the fire vehicles. Let me just get my papers somewhere. All right, so you have all the documentation. You received the contracts for all 3 vehicles. All of them are under the approved amount by the voters in November. And we want to move forward with this. As I mentioned when Attorney Marini spoke, the estimates given by the sales reps are between 36 and I think 44 months to receive once ordered. So we're talking like a 3-year wait, probably at the minimum. And these are all, as mentioned by both the Chief Horchardson and Assistant Chief DeLucia. These are top of the priority list and have been for years. So what I'm seeking tonight are 2 things. One, to waive the bid. Actually, Joe, do you want to take this?
Yeah, I was gonna say that the companies that produce these trucks and fit them are pretty much one size fits all, and they're the exclusive company. So we're seeking to waive the bids on the process for these companies. We've gotten quotes that are realistic and based on all the information that's been gathered by the chiefs and seen by the fire commission are in line with what to expect on these orders. So with that said, I'd like to make a motion to waive the bid process for all 3 of the vehicles.
I'll second that.
Motion by Yaman. Who was the second on that? Not?
Janetti, I think.
Janetti.
Motion by Yaman, second by Janetti. Any discussion?
Just a question for Joe on that. So the going through the normal bid process, I'm assuming would add time.
Correct, Steve.
to
That's
this.
exactly
What about how much time would it add?
Going through the process, because knowing what it is to go out there, probably add another 3 or 4 months, and we're behind on these by about 2
Yes.
years on the order process. And that's sort of the urgency here, is trying to lock it in before the end of the year, like we discussed at last meeting, and make sure these numbers are good and they don't go up after
If
January.
if I could
add
to
to
the,
that?
if I
Can I
could
add
to
to
the.
that?
Hang on. Let's get some order.
Sure.
Chief has his
Again,
hand
I-
up, Chief has his hand up, although I don't trust his connection. So
Add to that?
Kurt had his hand up as well. So we're going to Kurt and then Janetti as well. But
Uh,
Kurt,
Just to build off of the point of Alderman Yauman, these trucks, there's price increases that are built in, and if we don't get some of these trucks ordered, we're going to face price increases. So for the ladder truck, we need to get that essentially ordered by the end of December, or else we face a price increase. And then the same thing with the engine truck. So again, these are things that we prudently need to take care of and address now, or we will be paying tens of thousands of dollars more for the same vehicle.
I think Alderman Yaman's explanation is very satisfactory.
Janetti, did you have anything to add beyond that, or was that what you were going to?
Oh, well, no, I was just gonna add to that too, what Kurt said. I was gonna echo what he said. He hit the nail on the head. The longer you wait, to order it, the longer you wait for the truck and the more it's gonna cost, bottom line.
Yeah, you end up exact same thing. I think one goes up January 1st and 2 of them go up February 1st. So
Yeah.
there's urgency to get this done. And they've been working on this we've been talking about this for over a year collectively. All right, so we have a motion to waive the bid process for the reason Joe stated. What was this? Who was the seconder on that?
I did.
Janetti.
Natty. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right. So motion carries. And then next, I'd like to do these separately because they're big ticket items and just want to make sure that we have a vote on all of them. So I'd like to authorize the department to order these vehicles as per the approved referendum. These were all approved at the November referendum. So we have the 3 trucks, engine 5, squad 9, and ladder 7. Joe, do you want to take this?
Yeah, I was
Yes,
gonna
I'll
say,
make the motion.
Wait a minute. You said
It's
engine
engine
5?
six.
engine 6,
Oh,
Six.
the
No,
pumper.
Okay.
no.
Try to slip
Engine
one in there,
5,
John?
engine
It is 5, but it's listed as 6 on the agenda.
okay.
is my
So
correction.
let me make a correction. There, it says engine 6. There's no engine 6. All the
Correct.
documentation you received is engine 5. That was a typo on the agenda.
Yay.
So engine 5, engine 9, and engine 7. Yaman, go ahead.
I'd make the motion to authorize the department to order the vehicles as per the approved referendum. Engine 5 not to exceed 1.2 million.
A second.
Motion by Yaman, second by, who was that?
Janetti.
Nettie. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimously. Second one is squad 9.
Yep, same motion to authorize the department to order the vehicles as per the approved referendum. Squad 9 not to exceed 1.5 million.
Joe?
I second it.
All right, motion by Yaman, second by Janetti. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, motion carries unanimously. And the last one's ladder 7.
Yep, same motion to authorize the department to order the vehicles as per the approved referendum on ladder 7 not to exceed 2.5 million.
And I'll second it.
All right, motion by Yaman, second by Janetti. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, well,
Long time coming.
Mr. President,
Yes.
President, if I could really quick, we have not finalized funding sources yet for these. It's still a little early in the process to do that. We absolutely could not go out to bond at this point when we're talking about trucks that may not be ready for 36 to 48 months. We'd have arbitrage issues with that. So we're going to be spending the next several months exploring many different options, whether it be bonding, lease pricing, private placement, so on and so forth. So we'll report back to this board on some of the different options and allow you folks to make a decision in the near future.
Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you, Kurt.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank
Kurt.
you.
Thank
Josh,
you.
one
Thank
of the
you.
chief, Alex has his hand up. I don't know if he wants to say something.
Alex, did you want to speak?
Yes, on behalf of the department, I'd like to thank everybody for voting in favor of upgrading our new outdated infrastructure. I appreciate it. Thank you from the department.
You're very welcome, chief.
Yeah. Thank you for all you do.
Thanks,
That's
Chief.
right. Thank you, chief.
Thank you.
I want to thank the city for really, I mean, they've been working really hard to pull all this together. This is not easy stuff, trying to go through that. But I also want to thank all the volunteers there's 3 separate truck committees for the 3 vehicles who've been working hard, meeting with representatives, doing their due diligence, meeting with multiple vendors, and really going down the rabbit hole. And I sat in on some of those meetings myself. I very much appreciated all the effort that went into it. So long time coming, and congratulations. And half a dozen years from now, we'll see them.
Thank the voters.
Yeah, thank you for the voters, obviously. Yeah, for recognizing that was a huge need. So,
Josh,
great.
I have an old business item too before we move to adjournment.
Yeah, so we have, we'll move on to old business. Any old business?
Well, I had one. So this might be, I don't know, for John or Sheila, the stack over in the Beaver Street area. I know it was remediated. Stanford Demo did a really nice job on it, but I know there was a hearing that was supposed to occur. Do we have any update on what came out of that?
Oh, yeah.
Tony, with respect to the smokestack or with respect to the owner is,
Oh, yeah, we can give an update as to that. So there was a hearing. The owner did concede that there was a need for demolition. Essentially what he did was consent to the city moving forward to perform the demolition with the contractor that we selected a month ago. The work was performed, the stack was taken down, the full expense of the demolition and the related use of public works to guard the road during the process was converted to a lien that was placed onto the property owner's property, right onto the land records, and has been forwarded on for collection.
Perfect. Thank you, John.
Perfect. Anything else under old business? Monkey business? All right. Executive session, there was nothing originally, but we did add item Metatrust versus Ansonia to the executive session at the beginning of this meeting.
Motion to go into executive session.
Second.
To go into executive session by Mamone, second by Adamowski. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
See you guys in cyberspace.
Motion to come out of executive session.
Second.
All right. On the item, the one item from executive session we had, Metatrust versus Ansonia. What is your pleasure?
Motion to authorize settlement as discussed in executive session.
Second.
Motion by Yaman, and second by Mamone. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, somebody hit it.
And Tony,
Get it, Rivers.
we were both wrong.
I know.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by, who is that? Rivers and Mamone. Happy
Thank you,
holidays,
everyone.
everybody.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you,
Christmas,
Josh.
everybody.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Bye, everybody.